being interviewed. Mr. Monk said what? What else did he say to you?
That's all. All I remember is that he asked me if I want to join.
And did you have any hesitation?
No.
What did you think the purpose of the of joining would be? What was the purpose?
I know about underground people who work, all kind of things. Yeah.
What was their purpose? What was their goal?
I didn't even ask questions. I just accepted that. But later, they gave me work to do.
Tell us, how did they contact you after that? Who did you meet?
After that, they gave me a name of a girl, of a Jewish girl. Her name was Regina Kuppelberg. Remember? I remember exactly the name, Regina Kuppelberg. She said, "You'll go to the barbed wires, near the barbed wires, where I worked. I worked near the barbed wires."
What kind of work were you doing near the barbed wires?
Nothing. Where did the last couple of months in Birkenau, where a group that didn't work at all, it was a fictitious group.
How did that happen?
That's very interesting. It was called Kläranlage. We were supposed to clean we call it the excrement, but we didn't do anything.
How did
where
you?
the capo and one of our people, we were nice men, but 5 people only. There was that Kaminsky made this group. It was called Commando, a work group, and we just we made believe we worked. We took something to carry this and that, but we didn't do anything. And that's how we survived. Without not working, when you worked, you were exposed to these cruelties. Sometimes they used to beat you up and used to even shoot you for nothing. So that time I went to the barbed wires. And I came, and he gave me, he told me a word to say, like a slogan. I don't remember, to say something.
You don't know the word?
I don't know. I came over, he said in Polish, "Poczekaj chwilę, wait a while." A girl came over, nearly, wait a while. And then she took something, a package, it was a package, like a handkerchief put. And she threw it out through the barbed wire. She says, "Catch it." And I took it, put it in a packet. And when we went, that was the workplace was outside the camp. That was, no, it was it was in the camp. It was not in the barracks. It was far from the barracks. Then we had to march to the barracks.
Now, what did this package look like?
I never opened it.
What was the size of the package?
I never opened it. Interesting. Okay, let's say this. Okay.
It was.
So it was like this.
Was it soft, or was it hard?
It was not too hard. I think it was jewelry or something.
Why do you think that?
Or maybe ammunition. I don't know. Could it be ammunition?
I don't know. No. What was it? Was it?
That bothers me. I don't know. I never asked.
Was it hard?
No, it was not hard to carry.
It was not heavy.
Not heavy.
But was it hard? No. Was it hard or was it soft?
I can't remember. It was not.
Could it fit in your hand?
I put it in a packet.
But was it bigger than the palm of your hand?
I think a little bigger, I think. I can't remember this either.
But it wasn't heavy.
But all I know that I had to take this and give it at night when I used to come back to the camps, to my barrack there. And that time, now I say to myself, where is me? What I did, I could have been tortured to death if they caught me. But I didn't think that time about that. If they caught me, they would have tortured me to death. So, but they didn't.
And I just want to go back for a minute to this package that you carried. How was it closed? How did they close the package?
It was tied up like this, so you just put it.
It was tied in?
Yeah. I don't remember all this. I just know it was a package, I put it in a packet. I came to the back, I gave it to Shia Kelly. He told me to give it to him to give it. That was the routine.
So who were the people that you knew in the group? You knew Monk?
I knew Shia Kelly, and Regina Kuppelberg, that's all.
Just 3 people? Those were the only 3 people you knew?
I was a leading member. Not only, I had 5 cells under my supervision. The movement consisted of cells, you know?
The underground
movement
consisted of
cells.
There
were 5 people in a cell.
What does that mean, in a cell?
Because everything, so you have to be careful. Everything was in secret.
What does cell mean? What do you mean by the word cell?
A group, okay, call it, you say group, that, we call it cells. So in the underground movement, even in the communist underground movements, in wherever they have groups, little groups, because it's a matter of being careful. That's how it was. Five people were
one woman, you, Monk, and Shayak, and who was the fifth?
No, these three. These three, I was in contact with them.
Okay.
Now I was a leader of 25 people. I knew 5 more people, see? Each one of the 5 had a group of 5. As I told you, there was cells. I was the leader of 5 cells, 5 groups. Each group consisting of 5 people. Simple.
How did you rise to that leadership?
They told me that would be your function, and they gave me the names of these 5 people.
How many times did you pick up packages from...
Many times. Can tell you how many times? Many times.
And was it always the same kind of a package?
Yeah, the same. I never opened it.
Did you wonder what it could be?
No, I never opened it. Interesting. Now I wonder much, and sometimes I think about it very intensively. I don't know.
And what did you hope to accomplish? Was it a question of freeing people?
No, sure. They did all kinds of useful things.
What did they do?
They used to bribe they says. They used to bribe everything. Maybe it was a lot of jewelry, gold, a lot of valuable things. And maybe it was ammunition. Later I heard they found a girl, 4 girls working in a factory. And they had ammunition there, so they had ammunition, and they were hanged. These 4 girls. It was known it was in the press, in the literature.
Do you know the names of the people in the other cells?
No, interesting. I think I told you that in New York years ago. I was in a cafeteria on 96th Street, I think. That cafeteria where Bashevis Singer used to write about. I used to eat there. I lived there not far from there. So one man came over to my table. He said, "Oh, Label, you remember me?" In Yiddish, he begs me, like this. "You begs me?" I said, "Who are you? I don't know you. But remember, you used to tell us what to do. We used to sometimes, we used to gather all the 5 groups, 5 cells with me. We used to go to a place where the Jewish doctors, they were also in the movement. They used to have to see us. We have to report to them. So without speaking, there was a sign how to do that. Sometimes we used to take just the handkerchiefs and make like we wipe our noses to show that we are active, that we are here. So I used to tell them, and I was the leader of this group. He recognized me.
He recognized you after 50 years.
And I didn't recognize him. I think he was in Ballistock. And I can't forgive myself for not taking his telephone number. So he was the only one to... Oh, excuse me. I have the phlegm comes out. So that was, I remember, from that, from this working in the underground. What was in the packet is I never opened it.
Okay, tell us some more, please, about the organization. You say that there were groups of 5s.
We have to have meetings too.
Okay, now, so all the people who worked in the underground knew one another.
No, I didn't know, I say.
You said you knew five cells,
yeah,
and there were 5 people in each cell. So you knew...
But the rest,
so you knew 25 people?
All these 25 people, we were just we were marching to a certain place. We were working, Berlin, we were strolling. But I just saw them, I can't remember them, I don't even have their names. You know what I mean? But I was in contact with these 3 people, Shaik Ehrlich, whom I gave this package, Regina Kupperberg, and the man who introduced me to that group.
Were any of those people captured, any of those 3
No,
leaders?
I wonder, yeah, I wonder.
Not that you know of?
No.
And were any of the other people in the cell, in each of your cells?
One of Shaik Ehrlich, I think, was in Israel. I think, what happened to him, I don't know. A few times they brought me even food later. I used to work before that Shaik Ehrlich.
So your understanding was that these packages would somehow make life easier for the Jews?
Well, that was work against the SS, against the government, against the
to free them, to help people escape?
Yeah, a few people escaped. That's known in the literature.
And, oh, that people escaped and that
Some made it, some didn't make. Some came back and they were hanged.
And do you understand that the works of the underground helped these people to escape?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. The underground arranged all these things.
Did you ever ask if you could be one of those people to escape?
No. I would not. I wouldn't have the energy for that. To escape was something extremely unusual to escape. It was
How were the people who did escape, how were they chosen by the underground?
I don't know. Interesting. We never asked questions. I never had a meeting with my superiors, just with that man, the monk. But we had meetings sometimes. We used to gather and they told us the news and about the partisans or all kind of things out there by the front.
What kinds of instructions did Monk give you?
Well, my work consisted only of this thing, only to give to deliver the package.
But what was your relationship to the other 25 men?
There was no relationship at all. I only had to do with the 5 people. You see, 5. The leaders of the cells.
Of the 5, and you said that but the 5 cells.
The 5 people, each one had.
And you didn't know those other people?
No, I didn't know their names even. I didn't know. Remember once we marched to that place, as I told you, to be shown by the leadership, of the underground. All these 25 people. But one of them came into New York, and I didn't take his name. I can forgive myself for that. He's the only one who could be that he worked.
You don't know what happened to the
No.
others?
He says, you were my superior.
Did you speak about your experiences in the camp together when you saw him?
Who?
When this man...
No, we worked in the cafeteria, and then he left. We just spoke. It was at that time I was teaching, and we had very interesting. I had an interesting life. I was a teacher. We had parties, and I used to work down the Broadway. I liked to go to the theaters, and so we forgot that. I forgot about that. But in the back of my mind, it was still there. But and years went by, and now I am closer to that event, and I think, where is that man? I wanted to give an ad in the papers to look for that man, but I don't know how to do that. Who is that man? Maybe he's not alive anymore. He's the only one.
You don't know his name?
No.
What were there any close calls for you? Was there any? Were you ever spotted? Were you ever seen? Were you afraid that you were going to be caught?
I was caught.
You were caught. Tell us that story.
I think I told you that.
Tell us that story now.
I took that package from under the barbed wire, and to my surprise, I noticed the assessman was next to me, standing, and he gave me a smack like this. He says in German, "Was tust du, Maljude? What are you doing here?" And I had that package already in my pocket. And I said to him something which saved my life. What do you think should I have said? I said, I met my sister. I haven't seen her in a long time. That's all. And he gave me that smack, and he says, "Go away."
He didn't check your pocket.
He could have shot me. If he found this, he would have been tortured to death. That was the only time.
What were the signals for? You mentioned before a signal about...
Only the first time that I met that girl, I had to tell her something. I don't remember that word.
But you said there was also a signal for the medical doctors where you took a tissue to your nose. What was that in reference to?
That was when we had to be seen for the leaders of the underground. I think there were doctors there. It was a place. It was like a kind of a hospital or something. So we had to do that. I remember that was the sign. That was a sign that we are from the movement.
Were there people that
That man reminded me about that.
Were there people who you knew to stay away from who might be collaborators?
No, no, no. I didn't think of it. No one knew. Even my own brother didn't know. No one knew that. I think I'm the only one who belonged to the underground. I've never met a person who was in the underground.
Except this one man.
I never met a person who was operated on and he survived. I was operated in the birkenau.
Tell that story.
I was very sick. And when I was lying on the board, we had to go to sleep with our boards, with my brother, with him together, my brother, in all the camps. We managed to be together in all the camps, in Dachau, in Kielbasa, in Auschwitz, in Rhino, in Sachsenhausen. So I felt I had a wound, and the pus was coming from my shoulder, and it touched the board. It was terrible. I had to wake up in the morning, and the overseers to shout with all kinds of vulgar words to get up and to go to work. And sometimes maybe they used to beat us too, but not too often. So remember, I had to go. Here was the pus, and I didn't know what to do. I became very, very weak, and I couldn't walk normally. So I didn't know what to do. So I went to a friend. His name was he was a doctor before the war, Gordon. Dr. Gordon. Blessed his memory. He saved my life too.
Do you remember his first name?
No.
And tell us what happened. What did Dr. Gordon do?
Gave me advice. That advice saved my life. He was not a doctor there. He was just like a technician or something. Because they used them for other purposes. They weren't real doctors, So he examined me. He looked at that thing. He said, "You know what? You have only a few days to live." Remember that what he said to me. You cannot. Don't. I say, "Is there anything I can do?" He says, "Yes. The only thing you can do, go voluntarily to that hospital. I think they call it ambulance in German. It was a little hospital, and they will care of that. They care of that." I say, "Don't they send from there to the guest chambers? As far as we know, they send." I said, "Yes, they do, but lately, the last couple of weeks, they didn't send. Maybe you take a chance, but you don't have anything you can do. Anyway, you are dying. You are dying. So, like as if you say, take a chance." My brother was in his barracks, and I went to I couldn't wash myself because I was very sick, and I couldn't do anything. I was a Muslim man. That was the lowest group in the camp. That you couldn't walk normally, you couldn't talk normally. You were very, very weak, and you were about to die. So I came to that place, and a Polish doctor told me to lay down, to count. I think I counted to 12. I think I remember, and he operated on me. I still have that scar. And after the war, people told me, and doctors told me, they did a very good job. So and then that's how the Germans did. These bastards. They operate. They cured you, and then they sent you to the crematories. They told me. So I wanted after the operation. I knew I was alert. I knew if I had to go to work. If not, I'm dying. He says, "I wanted to go." He says, "No, you're not going." So I wanted to get dressed. "No, you're not going to get dressed. You go like this, naked. Go to that number 7, block number 7. That's a barracks called number 7. I knew that was a death block, the famous block 7. I went to that block. I remember it was, I think, in autumn time. It was cold, but then I was without clothes. I was there. Nobody was there. It was so quiet and abysmally quiet. It was a little bed, a little like a stretcher, I think, like in the hospitals they have. I lay down there, and I felt so good. No one beat me up. I expected to be beaten up there. And I was left alone by myself. I was there in that place. I don't understand why no one was around there. During that night, my brother again went to that couple,
Kaminsky?
Kaminsky. After so many years, still. So he canceled he took me out from the block 7 to block 8. That was semi-death block. Over there, you had a chance to leave. The block 7, there was no train. You took from there, they were taken to the crematorium. Over there, I was a few months lying there, and they cured me. That Kaminsky came and said to the people, the doctors, in Polish, you must save me this man. He's a friend of mine. I want to save that man. And they took care of me. They bandaged and all this. And my brother used to bring me food sometimes, help me. I was there in that camp. That was after that, when I became more, stronger, then I joined the movement. But at that time I was a Muslim. I was a candidate for the crematorium.
Did you see the crematorium?
I saw this from far. We were walking in the crematories. A huge building. And we see that chimney, the smoke, and we saw the people going. We saw people every day, hundreds, thousands upon thousands, marching to death, marching.
Men and women?
Men. And we heard people saying in Polish, they were on the truck, they were going to the crematories. And the way to the crematory, they waved to us, they said, take care of yourself. In Polish, trzymajcie się. The Jewish people in Poland were assimilated, those in the little big town, they spoke in Polish. I can't forget that, trzymajcie się. Take care, brothers, take care.
Was there any music or
yeah, there was music.
music?
There was music. There was like a group who played music. People went to the crematories and they played music. There was a special group, orchestra, and they played music. The drummers.
Who made up the orchestra?
I don't remember. I think Jewish people too, the prisoners.
What kind of music did they play?
All kinds. They liked classic music. These bastards, they were.
Were you beaten?
Yeah, I was beaten. I remember one time I had to be beaten to death. That was my punishment. That was the rule.
What were you punished for?
I did something against the rule.
What did you do?
I did something which no one of all these survivors, that people that you will deal with, did that. I was young. That was something. How I had the courage, I don't know. And I'll tell you how it was. We had to go to a house, a big house, to take a shower. I think it was every week or every few weeks. Over there, we used to, of course, undress and to go to the shower, take a shower. When I came there, all of a sudden, an assessment came over to me. Usually, we did it many times. I went through that without any trouble. Assessment came over to me. He saw me, and I was pale. I didn't. That was the time when I was weak. He said to me, "You're not going. You stay here." And I found myself with a group of people, about 10, 12 people, standing. And they give us, we took off our jackets. They give us a thermometer. Put a thermometer here. And he says, the assessment said to us, "Stay. I will be back soon." And we all stayed. They stayed. About 12 people, 10, 12 people. I don't remember exactly, but it was a group of people. At that time, I took the thermometer, and I saw I had in the Fahrenheit was more than normal. I don't know how much at that time was normal, but I know it was above. So I said to myself, that is not good. That means that group will be sent to the gas chamber. So what I did was I took the jacket, I threw out the thermometer, and I ran. So imagine there were maybe about a few hundred people in maybe 200 or 300 people.
Where did you run?
I went to the barrack. And I figured, but I couldn't go in, see, but I had to go with that group. So what I do, I said to myself, I'll wait till they will come to the mouth back and I'll sneak in. You know what I mean?
The group that was taking the shower?
Yeah. I mean, the whole people to the back. That's what I did, and I succeeded. When you're young, if I was older, 10, 20 years older, I wouldn't have done that. But that time I was young. So I went. When I was running, I thought the millions of people run after me. That the whole world is running after me. Immediately I broke the rule. But I didn't think of it, that the punishment is death. The punishment is death. They kill you. So I came back and I was 16. I went to sleep at night. About in the middle of the night, they called my name. They called names, all kinds of names of people to be punished. All of a sudden, I forgot about this when I went to sleep. They called my name, the leader of the block, kind of a capo, and he called me to his office. And he didn't say anything for why, but I knew that but I did. He said to me, "Lie down." And I lie down on a table, I think, somewhere, and he took a stick and he hit me, beat me. And I had to count. 1, 2, and he gave me. The rule was that that capo killed maybe hundreds of people, the same. We call them Blockelster, the block leader. The barracks was called block. So all of a sudden he started beating me. He said to me, I'll never forget his words exactly in Polish. He said, Paul, I would have killed you to death, but I won't do that because your name, you have a nice Polish name. Borovic is a Polish name. It's a mushroom, glimmer mushroom. You let me go. He saved my life. The same capo, the same Blockelster, who was cruel. He said himself, I would have killed you. He was not a tzaddik, he was not a righteous man, see me? But saved my life because he had a Polish name. I reminded him of his people to let me go. That I remember.
Were you injured by the blows that he did give?
No.
No. What happened to the other people whose temperatures?
I didn't see them. I think they went to the crematories. See?
They did go.
See, the common sense told me that they went because if they took the thermometer, that means that it isn't for nothing. See? They looked pale. I would be happy if I heard that they survived, but I don't think they survived. Because it was a few times I did it, I sneaked out. So people didn't think of it, they just stayed. I didn't do that. I remember a few times I stayed with a group of people, they told me I didn't have any group to go to work. That was terrible. You didn't have a group. Then they could take the crematories. So I stood the group people and the officer says, wait. So people waited and I didn't wait, I just ran away. See? That's how I saved myself. So you have to see that there is no, you cannot say that I survived because I was very alert, smart. No, but you have to do something for yourself. Which I did. See, in addition to the fact that people saved my life, I myself saved a few times. I did this thing, and a few times I just sneaked out.
When did you get word about your family members, about your mother? And what happened to her?
When I came to Birkenau, the same day when I came, the same moment when I reached that place, the platform, I knew. My mother said to me, "Sei gesund, mein Kind." And she went, and my sister went, and I knew they went to the crematory, same night. But and then I heard that someone told me that, your Bashala is in the camp. I saw her, a person whom I knew. And I was happy. And then to hear that, but later my brother came and says to me, no, she's not anymore.
How did your brother know?
His wife was working and knew her.